All right, we made it to Friday. Today on our phonics pages, we're looking at pages 231 and 232. Let's look at the poem at the top of the page and let's read that together. Hot or cold, rain or shine, my dog likes the backyard best. Day or night, summer or winter, he needs a place to rest. Okay, now we're going to read it like turtles. Ready? Hot or cold, rain or shine, my dog likes the backyard best. Day or night, summer or winter, he needs a place to rest. Okay, now we're going to read it like robots. Ready? Hot or cold, rain or shine, my dog likes the backyard best. Day or night, summer or winter, he needs a place to rest. And now cheetahs. Ready? Hot or cold, rain or shine, my dog likes the backyard best. Day or night, summer or winter, he needs a place to rest. And I hope you noticed in that poem there were a lot of antonyms. Remember, antonym is a fancy word for opposite. And on our phonics paper today, we're going to be talking about antonyms. So let's look at the yellow box at the top of the page. Find a word in the box that means the opposite of each word. Print its letter on the line. Okay, so first let's just read the words in our green box. Ready? Old, wet, start, full, slow, last, down, hot, good, short, out, well, few, winter, long, far, lower, shallow, shut, awake, thick, wide, white, hard. And let's go down to number one. Number one says dry. Which word in that green box means the opposite of dry? I hope you said it was the second word in our first line, wet. If you look at the word wet, it has a letter B in front of it. So in number one, write the letter B because wet is the antonym for dry. We'll do two more together. Number two says up. See if you can find the opposite of up. If you look at the second row, we have the word down. Down is the antonym for up. The letter in front of the word down is G, so you're going to print a G on the line in front of the word up. And we'll do one more together, number three. Number three says summer. See if you can find the antonym for summer. In the third row, we have the word winter. Winter is the antonym for summer. In front of the word winter is the letter M, so you're going to write the letter N in number three. Turn your papers over, and let's look at the instructions on the back. Print a word from the box that means the opposite of each word and describes the picture. So let's look at number one. Number one says awake. The picture is the opposite of awake. Do you see in the picture the boy is asleep? So we're going to look for the word in the green box that says asleep. It's in the bottom row. Circle asleep and print it on the line. And I just realized we didn't read those words. Let's go back and read them. Ready? Stop, open, full, ill, cry, night, float, hot, strong, asleep, sit, smile. So we're going to do two more together. Number 2 is close. And it shows a window that is open. So you're going to look and see if you can find the word open in the green box. Opens in the first row, circle open, and print it in number 2. Give you a minute to do that and get caught up. And number 3 says empty. But that glass isn't empty, it's full. So you're going to look in the green box, find the word full. It's in the first row, circle full, print it on the line. You can choose to do forwards or backwards phonics. Just make sure you remember to do both sides. And we'll see you in a little while for math. All right, hi first grade. Welcome back for math. Remember last week we talked about plane shapes? Remember they were the flat shapes we drew on the board, the circles, the squares, the rectangles, the triangles. Today we're talking about geometric forms. They're not flat. And today for math, all you have to do is either collect or make the geometric forms we're looking for. So let's look up here. These are all listed on Edmodo, and if you need to make one, it gives you a link to show you how to make them. But see what you can find around your house. The first one on my list is a cone. And the first thing that came to my mind was an ice cream cone. And I don't have any ice cream cones, but I do have a party hat. So if you see my party hat, it has a point on the top. We're going to pretend it's flat on the bottom. It's covered on the bottom. And it's round. Okay? So here's my cone. I have that. The next thing is a cube. You might have a block that's a cube. I have 2 dice I want to show you. One's a cube and one's not. If you look closely, this cube is not really a cube because it has rounded edges. And it looks like, see how it looks like it has a circle on the front because it has a rounded edge. It's almost a cube, not quite. This dice is a cube. It has square fronts. It meets at the corners. Okay. So it's a cube. It's a lot of squares all put together to make the cube. So I have cube. There's a cube. I don't have a pyramid. The pyramid I want you to find is one that has a square bottom. There are 2 types of pyramids. One has a triangle on the bottom, and the other one has a square on the bottom. We're looking for the one with a square. So on the bottom, it will look like a square, and each side will look like a triangle. So if I was doing this today, which I will be, I'll need a pyramid to show you next week, I will be making the pyramid. Okay, I'm not putting a check mark next to it because I don't have it. All right, the next one's a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism has rectangles on 4 sides and squares on the end. So this box is a rectangular prism. I have a flashlight that's a rectangular prism. See, it has a rectangle on all the sides and squares on the end. So I do have a rectangular prism. Oh, I accidentally wrote pyramid on here twice. I missed my cylinder. So let's erase that. I'm going to write cylinder. And this is what we usually think of as a cylinder. It has a circle on the top, a circle on the bottom, and it's round. Okay? So this is a cylinder. This is also a cylinder, except it's a short, fat one. You see there's a circle on the top, a circle on the bottom, and it's round. So there's a cylinder. I have that. And my my hermit crab house, which I'm now using to store chalk because we haven't had hermit crabs for a very long time. It's also a cylinder. It's round at the top. It's a circle at the top, a circle on the bottom, and it's round. And I think all of you have this one. You're probably saying it's a ball. Well, in math, we don't call it a ball. We call it a sphere. If you look at it, it has an S, then a PH. Sphere. All right, so let's read those one more time. Cone, cube, pyramid, rectangular, prism, cylinder, and sphere. And I have that. So I've collected everything I needed except the pyramid. So now I'm going to go make my pyramid so I'm ready for math on Monday. All right, we'll see you back here in a little while for English. All right, we're back for English, page 221. And on page 221, it says using the internet. And we've talked about using the internet. I know a lot of you have used the internet, but there's some things in here to remember when using the internet. And the first one is my rule that you always go on the internet with a grown-up. Okay, it says using the internet. Let's read it together. Some people call the internet the world's biggest library. You can use it to find facts about any topic you want to research. And it gives you an example. It says Kids Web Guide, the search engine for kids. I looked that up and I didn't see a Kids Web Guide. But when I typed in Kids Web Guide, it gave me suggestions for websites for kids. So again, that's something that you can do, but make sure you're looking with a grown-up. Okay? And this is just an example, the picture of what a page might look like on the computer. I know you've all seen a page on the computer, so we're going to go down and read underneath. Make sure that the information you find on the internet is true. Sometimes what you read on the internet is made up. Use search engines made for kids. A kid's search engine helps you find websites that have true information. If you lost your place, we're getting ready to start at the second paragraph. Point to the first word, internet. Internet safety is very important. Don't give out information about yourself, such as your name or where you live. Never give out that information. Make sure a grown-up is nearby when you are using the internet. If you see something that makes you uncomfortable, tell a grown-up. Okay? So if you have any questions about this, ask your grown-up, and we'll see you back here to talk about Hawaii. Okay, we're here to talk about Hawaii. We're continuing to talk about volcanoes. And today in our booklet, we're on pages 16 and 17. And if you're using the computer screen, I'll hold this up for our lesson so you can see it. It says, when does a volcano erupt? Okay, so we'll look at our title. It cuts off the W a little bit here at the beginning of when. When does a volcano erupt? And the boy is pointing to this picture, and he's saying, an eruption. And you can see down here we have the magma chamber, and we have our vent, and the magma is going up the vent. And remember, when it comes out, it's called lava. And then we also have ash and dust that goes into the air as well. Okay, so I'm going to hold this a little closer, and we're going to read it together. A volcano is an opening in the earth. The opening goes down many miles under the ground to where the earth is so hot that rock there is melted. This melted rock is called magma. The pressure under the ground may become too great from the weight of the heavy rock pressing on the magma. Then the volcano erupts. Red hot magma blasts up through the opening in the surface of the earth and pours out onto the ground. Then it is called lava. Okay, if you lost your place, we're at the top of the next column where it says hot ashes. There we go. Hot ashes, rocks, dust, and gas shoot up into the air. Sometimes many people are hurt or killed and much land is destroyed. Now you should know that was a long time ago when people would be hurt or killed. Now volcanologists can study volcanoes, and we're going to learn about that in the next paragraph. It starts right here about scientists. Scientists cannot tell exactly when a volcano will erupt, but they often see warning signs. The ground shakes and steam comes out of the top of the volcano. Scientists use special machines to measure the pressure of the magma underground. They can warn people to go far away from a volcano when it is about to erupt. And your question today, it says, answer this question in a complete sentence. So if you can make it fit at the bottom of the page, that's fine, or you can write it on a separate piece of paper. Remember, your sentence needs to begin with an uppercase letter and end with a period. It says, how do you know when a volcano might erupt? And remember, we said that the scientists often see warning signs. So you're looking for those warning signs to answer the question, how do you know when a volcano might erupt? Okay. So you can pause this now and do page 16, or we're going to keep going to page 17 and you can come back to page 16. So you do what works for you. Page 17 is called All About Volcanoes. Let's read that together. All of the islands in Hawaii are the tops of volcanic mountains. The mountain of lava grew bigger each time the volcano erupted until the volcanic mountain was high enough to stick out of the ocean. Okay. If you lost your place, we're starting right here with the word there. There is a hole at the top of the volcanic mountain. Hot lava and gas come out of the opening when the volcano erupts. Many volcanoes have been quiet for hundreds of years. 2 volcanoes have erupted in recent years in the United States. Kilauea on the island of Hawaii has erupted many times. Mount St. Helens in Washington erupted in a huge blast that blew off the top 1,400 feet of the mountain. And remember, when they're talking about Mount St. Helens in Washington, they're talking about Washington State, all the way over on the other side of the country, not Washington, D.C. Okay? So if you have not answered the question on page 16, go back and do that. And if you have, we'll see you back here in a few minutes for Freckle Juice. Bye-bye. All right, we're back to talk about Freckle Juice. And today we're looking at page 3. And I'm going to hold this up for those of you who are not printing it out so you can follow along. Okay. So this is a story map. And a story map helps you put together what's happening in the story. There are important things that you need to have in every story to have it be interesting and to have it make sense. Okay, so in the middle, we started with Freckle Juice by Judy Blume. That's the name of our story. Okay, all stories need to have a setting. A setting is where the story takes place. It needs to have main characters. If you have a story about nothing, it's not going to be interesting. You need to have characters, right? And then the thing that really makes a story interesting is if there's a problem that someone has to solve, and then the solution is how the problem is solved. So let's look at each one of these things that are important with our story map. First, let's look at the setting. Okay? Where did the story Freckle Juice take place? It took place in 2 places, really. There are 2 settings, Andrew's school and Andrew's house. All right. And then we have main characters. And we talked about before how Andrew Marcus is our main character. And then we had supporting characters. We had Sharon, Miss Kelly, Nikki Lane, Mrs. Marcus, and then also Mrs. Burrows. But 2 of our supporting characters are very important, so we listed them with the main characters because without Sharon or Miss Kelly, we wouldn't have a story. And Nikki Lane, I think, is pretty important too. All right, let's look down here. Our problem is that Andrew wants freckles. He buys a Freckle Juice recipe from Sharon, but it doesn't work. Instead of admitting he fell for Sharon's joke, he makes freckles on his face with a marker. All right, so now that's the problem. He's at school. He has freckles on his face with a marker. He did that because he had the problem of not wanting Sharon to know that the Freckle Juice recipe didn't work. But it's also a problem because all the kids now think it's funny and they know he doesn't really have freckles. So Miss Kelly, who's very kind, she could have embarrassed him. She could have just said, Andrew Marcus, go wash your face. But she didn't. She came up with a clever solution to make a happy ending. She gave Andrew something to remove his fake freckles. And he also teaches him to accept himself just the way he is. So if you remember at the end of the story, she told Andrew that he looked perfect without his freckles, that's how he should look. And then Nikki Lane spoke up and said, but I don't want freckles either. And she made sure that Nikki Lane knew that he looked great with his freckles, that she couldn't imagine him any other way. So what I want you to remember for this is when you're reading or writing a story, the story needs to have a setting. It needs to have main characters, hopefully interesting. Remember, we use a lot of adjectives, a lot of descriptive words. A story has a problem and a solution. Okay. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.